So you want to go from this to this. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to do it without any boring scientific information. So when I started lifting weights, I was super skinny. I was like 60 kilos at 6 feet tall. I was shy, insecure, and I didn't know how to get bigger. I watched all these fitness YouTubers and they made the whole process of building muscle seem so like complex and just confusing. They were all talking about like high reps, low reps, sarcoplasmic versus myofibrillar hypertrophy, the squeeze, the pump, motor unit recruitment, all these different things. And it made me so confused and I didn't know what to focus on. And because of that, I had analysis paralysis and I spent like the first 5 years of my training not gaining any muscle and just wasting my time. I know exactly how that feels. So in this video, I'm going to break it down for you really simple so that by the end of watching, you know exactly what you should focus on to build muscle and actually transform your physique. So first off, let's have like a quick 30-second rundown of how muscles actually grow. It's pretty much agreed upon now that muscles grow primarily from mechanical tension. That might sound like a complicated word, but basically all it means is the tension applied to the muscle when you're lifting weights. So you can think of it like a tug of war between your muscle and the weight. And it's basically just this stretch force that's being applied to your muscles. That's literally all you need to really know. And then in order for that muscle to get bigger over time, that stretch or that tension needs to increase in stress over time. And the easiest way to do that is just to lift more weight over time. So if we say on week 1, you were doing dumbbell bicep curls with 5 kilos, and then 6 months later, you were doing 20 kilos for sets, your biceps likely will have got bigger. It's really that simple. So once we've got the mechanical tension set up and we're focusing on lifting more weight over time, we just need to make sure that your effort in the gym is high enough as well. So what I mean by effort is you're training close enough to failure where we're actually recruiting enough of the motor units, enough of the muscle fibers to actually grow. So all you need to think about is mechanical tension and effort. So lifting more weight over time and applying high effort, getting close to failure whilst you're doing it. Really, for hypertrophy and to get bigger, that's all you know. Once you're a bit more advanced, you can get more into the science and the details. For now, that's all you need to focus on. So how do we put that into practice into a gym program to actually get bigger? So what I would recommend is that you train each of your muscle groups at least once a week. The actual frequency through the week doesn't matter too much. As long as we're training each muscle at least once a week, it's more about the total training volume throughout the week. I've had the best success with like 2 or 3 times a week. Twice a week is probably the most simple way to set it up, to be honest. So let's say twice a week, at least once a week. I would do 2 to 4 sets of 5 to 10 reps per exercise if your focus is on muscle growth. Why 5 to 10 reps and why 2 to 4 sets? That rep range is simply an efficient rep range where we can do enough volume and we can also focus on what actually matters for muscle growth, which is lifting more weight over time, close to failure. If you think about the traditional bodybuilding rep ranges of like 8 to 12 reps and people will go and do like 4 or 5 sets, the problem with that approach is it's really hard to actually focus on performance and focus on adding weight over time. Because compared to examples, let's say we're training your biceps for 5 sets of 12 reps or 2 to 4 sets of 5 to 10 reps. Which example do you think you'll be able to actually add weight to long term, really lock in mentally and hit those sets with some intent and some effort? Probably the lower rep sets and the lower volume, right? 5 sets of 12, by the time you get to set 3 or 4, you're gassed, you can't really focus or add weight to the thing. So 2 to 4 sets of 5 to 10 reps is a nice middle ground. That doesn't mean to say you can't go lower reps and higher reps, especially if you want some focus on strength or you just like getting a pump. But for the most part, 2 to 4 sets, 5 to 10 reps, I would focus your efforts on that rep range. Take each set close to failure, so within at least 2 or 3 reps of failure. For some exercises, take them all the way to failure, or like if you're deeper in your training block and you're pushing harder, go all the way to failure. Stuff like bicep curls, tricep pushdowns, I would just take those completely to failure because they're so minimally fatiguing that it doesn't really matter. So yeah, train each muscle at least once a week, 2 to 4 sets, 5 to 10 reps. Effort is the most important thing, so take the sets close to failure and really focus on adding weight over time. So try and beat the logbook every single time. So if on week 1 you did like 3 sets of 10 with 5 kilos, next week your goal is to beat that in some way, okay? There are a few ways that we can progress this long term and actually make sure that we're growing. Probably the two most simple ways is option one, you have a fixed rep target and you just add weight over time. So let's say our rep target is 3 sets of 8. We just stick to 3 sets of 8 and we try and add weight week after week. Okay, so let's say week 1, you did 3 sets of 8 with 10 kilos. Week 2, you would try and do 3 sets of 8 with 12 kilos. Week 3, you try and do 3 sets of 8 with 14 kilos, and you keep going like that. Or you can use a double progression method. So that's where the reps and the weight might change over time. So basically what you do there, and I'll put an example on screen. Week 1, you might use the 10 kilo dumbbells for 3 sets of 8. Week 2, you might use those same 10 kilo dumbbells for 3 sets of 9. Week 3, you do 3 sets of 10. And then you start that cycle over with a heavier weight. So let's say 12 kilos. And then you do 3 sets of 8, 3 sets of 9, 3 sets of 10. And you basically keep adding reps at the same weight, okay? Either one of those is fine. It just depends on personal preference and which one you respond best to. But we want to use one of those methods and really focus on adding weight over time. If you don't want to go about like having to figure out how to set that up, go ahead, click the first link in the description. I've set up a program for guys like you. There's some training programs there, like 3, 4, 5 day versions that will set this up for you. You literally download it, go do the program and get bigger. But yeah, that's how simple muscle growth can be. I wanted this to be a super short video where you don't have to think about all the science and everything. You can literally just take these principles and you can go and get bigger. So to summarize, to get bigger, you literally need to focus on mechanical tension, high effort. So that basically means adding weight over time to your chosen exercises, applying high effort, getting close to failure, all of your sets being within 2 or 3 sets of failure. I'll summarize my recommendations on screen so you can literally today go and apply them and get bigger and don't waste all the time that I spent in the gym. But yeah, thanks for watching. I really hope this video helps you out, and I'll catch you in the next one.